the world that their kids will live in will look nothing like the world today. That
Yes.
fast forward 10, 15 years, that's the world. Now, those jobs that the parents have now won't exist. And the jobs that we're preparing the kids for today don't exist yet either. Chinese are evil, that they exploit, they take advantage, they strong arm.
Right.
But how many American companies have factories in China? And then the last one I'll give you, I said, how many parents in the room uh, drive for Uber? Some of them raised their hand. I said, how about for Lyft? Some of them raised their hand. I said, while we're in here talking, on the other side of that wall in the next room, they're working on driverless cars. I
That's
said,
right.
they done told us they're working on driverless cars. I said, you see little snippets of information out there. I
Yeah.
said, you see little
Elon Musk.
videos. They're
Yes.
telling you they're doing driverless cars. I said, then you're going to wake up one morning and there's no need for Lyft drivers or Uber drivers. And in order for those kids to be prepared to compete, you got to get them online early. What is early? Well, how early do they play video games? That's how early.
Exactly.
Uh, 5, 6, 7. How early do you prepare them to play sports? When do you send them out to
Right.
t-ball? When do you send them out to uh, flag football? That's how early you need to get in the game. You prepare for football as soon as he can run.
Right.
And then even if he makes it, it's about an average 3-year career. So he's still in his 20s, his career is over. It doesn't matter how much money he made, it's over.
Right.
Welcome to A Better You podcast. Let's start today to develop a better you.
Welcome to A Better You. You're in the Genius Lab. I'm excited about my next guest this week as I am spotlighting men who are making a difference in our communities as well as the world at large. And he's the executive director of STEAM Coders. And I'm telling you, he's doing a phenomenal work. It's a 501c3 nonprofit based out of Pasadena, California. And I love this. He says, my goal is to continually strive to make a difference in this world. So, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to this platform the hardest working man this side of the Mississippi, Mr. Raymond Ealy.
Greetings, Dr.
Yes,
McFarland.
there he is. How you doing, sir?
Doing excellent.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for taking out time to be with me as I have watched you fulfill a purpose that is so much needed in our community, especially in the minority community. And of course, we know that your organization helps children from all walks of life, but specifically those that are in the minority community, families, our children who need to understand the world of technology. Please share with the audience who you are and then share a little bit about STEAM Coders.
Well, I'm here in Pasadena, California. Started Steam Coders in 2014. And the goal was to introduce more underserved and underrepresented students, K through 12 students, to the STEAM fields of science, technology, engineering, art, and math. Our mission is to inspire underserved and underrepresented K through 12 students and their families through science, technology, engineering, art, and math in preparation for academic and career opportunities. We say we teach logic, critical thinking, and problem solving.
Mm.
We try to let the parents know that we want to prepare their kids to be able to think. People pay other people a lot of money to fix their problems. And so if you have that ability to identify a problem, come up with a plan, and execute it, then you're going to be in good shape no matter what field you're in.
That's
So
right.
it's a thinking process. It's like the mad scientist in the lab. He might go through hundreds of iterations before he gets it right. And then he brings it to market, and everybody thinks he's an overnight sensation. He's been working on that for 9 years,
Right, right,
grinding away, grinding away.
right.
And part of what we try to teach the kids is don't feel that you got to hit it right the first time out, or the second, or the third, or the 23rd. You keep making incremental progress, and eventually you'll get there. So unlike school, where you take one test, you pass or fail, and it's over. Life doesn't work that way. It's ongoing. You live, you learn some more, you learn some more, you deal with setbacks, you deal with failure, and then you finally start to see the light, and then you move forward. So the one and done doesn't work in real life. It shouldn't
Yeah,
work in schools,
yeah.
but that happens. So it's trying to make sure the kids understand that we're with you. However long it takes is how long it takes. So we're not going to give up on you. So you better not give up on yourself.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, I would like for you to share in the midst of AI right now, artificial intelligence is the main focal of media, news, social media. I mean, newspaper headlines, magazines. And I'm not sure if people really understand how the world of technology uh, is evolving so fast and rapidly that in a few blinks of an eye, we're actually going to be behind the ball as opposed to ahead of the ball when it comes to technology. I recall some years ago when I started out when I went to college, and I'll never forget my counselor. She signed me up for computer information systems, and that first semester I failed. I was like, that is not my calling. That is not my niche. And I asked her why did she, give that to me, and I was open to it, but my mind just wasn't wired for computer technology. And she said to me, she said, because technology, now mind you, this is back in uh, 82, 80s. She said, this is where the future is going. And then I recall 10 years ago, me sharing with young people that you have to get involved with technology. You have to start learning technology, because back then I was saying that this day is coming when technology is going to replace a lot of jobs. Can you talk about the importance of us, families, people, understanding how they're going to either be forced to comply with technology or be at the forefront of technology?
Well, I got two examples when I do the parent orientation, because there are times where many of the kids that we serve come out of household where parents did not attend college, and so they don't have a real feel for technology and secondary education. And I try to explain to them that the world that their kids will live in will look nothing like the world today. That
Yes.
fast forward 10, 15 years, that's the world. Now, those jobs that the parents have now won't exist. And the jobs that we're preparing the kids for today don't exist yet either.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you got to be ahead of the curve. And the examples I give to parents are first one is I tell them, you remember Blockbuster? They all say, yeah, yeah. I said, there used to be a Blockbuster on every corner in every town in America.
That's right.
I said, everybody had a Blockbuster card. Every Friday, Saturday night, everybody went to Blockbuster. I said, then the red boxes started appearing at the supermarkets. It was
Yes.
convenient. You didn't have to make an extra trip. So that happened. So then Netflix started
Yes.
mailing the DVDs to your house. So you didn't even have to leave the house. And I said, and then Blockbuster woke up one morning and Netflix was streaming. I said, I give you $100, you couldn't find a Blockbuster anywhere. I said, that's how. Now, people will say it was quick. I said, but they had to see it coming. They just didn't react.
That's right.
I said, now you had Barnes and Noble and Borders. I said, and then Amazon showed up. Now you can't find the Borders.
Change the game.
And there's about 2 or 3 Barnes and Nobles around. I said, now they saw Amazon selling books. I said, but for whatever reason, they just didn't feel it was a threat. And then it was over before it started. I said, and the last one I'll give you, I said, how many parents in the room drive for Uber? Some of them raised their hand. I said, how about for Lyft? Some of them raised their hand. I said, while we're in here talking, you know, on the other side of that wall in the next room, they're working on driverless cars.
That's
I
right.
said, they done told us they're working on driverless cars. I said, you see little snippets of information out there.
Yeah.
I said, you see little videos.
Yes.
They're telling you they're doing driverless cars. I said, then you're going to wake up one morning and there's no need for Lyft drivers or Uber drivers. I said, so people make it seem like this stuff sneaks up on you.
Right.
But it doesn't sneak up on you. It's there. You just refuse to believe that it's going to happen as quickly as it does. I said, and then it does, and then it's over. I said, and AI is the same way. They're telling us what they're going to do. They're constantly talking about it. They're explaining what type of jobs can be eliminated and will be eliminated. I said, so our kids need to understand, and as parents, you need to understand that you have to prepare for a future that's being talked about that's going to happen, and it's going to happen quicker than you think you have time to prepare for, but you don't have time to prepare for it. I said, how many times do you call the doctor or the pharmacy or someplace, and it's an automated machine? I said, that's AI. I said, you may never even talk to a person. You may just hit some buttons.
That's right.
That's already there. They're replacing phone operators, customer service operators.
That's right.
That you go to the fast food place, there's nobody at the counter because you could go to the machine and press the buttons and then just pick up your food. You don't even have to talk to a person.
Yeah, we see that internationally a lot.
Right. These are little pieces of AI that eliminate the human being that they don't need. So the kids and you have to figure out, what is the path I got to be on so I could be on the other side of this thing.
Yes.
And not be one of those jobs that they're going to eliminate, because they're not going to eliminate the jobs 5, 10, 15 at a time. They're going to eliminate it in the thousands. So unskilled labor is being replaced by machines. And if you can't see that happening, then you'll be victimized for it. So we're trying to teach our kids to understand all that there is in technology, if it's coding, if it's robotics, so they could start to understand where is that opportunity where I could use my skill set in order to advance myself, take care of myself and my family, and not worry about what's happening today, because what's happening today is going to be a lot different than the world that they live in tomorrow. But if they're not prepared, then there's nothing for them. You know, the one thing I always try to emphasize to the parents more than anything else is capitalism is not a warm and feely situation.
Right.
It's just profits.
Not warm and fuzzy. That's right.
They just have to understand that you don't have to like it, but you have to acknowledge that it's all about the bottom line. And if I could put a machine where I have a person that works 365 days a year, no maternity leave, no vacation,
no health benefits. That's right.
Right. No benefits, then they're going to do it. Now, the question would be, so what happens to the people? They don't even feel they need to answer that question. You know, they have shareholders that want a return on their investment. So however they can do that. Why shut down a factory in Michigan and open up the same factory in China? Because it's cheaper.
Right. That's right.
So what about the 10,000 people that worked at the factory? What about them? They need to be retrained in something they can do. And that's how capitalism works. We don't like it. But as we could see, the world operates a little differently. On the surface, we'll say that the Chinese are evil, that they exploit, they take advantage, they strong arm.
Right.
But how many American companies have factories in China? They're willing to overlook all of that if they can make a couple of more dollars. So we talk out of both sides of our mouth when it comes to human rights and fairness. But when it comes to making a profit, we're all in, whatever it takes.
Yeah, there's several articles out on how automation is really becoming this upheaval, so to speak, that will affect the majority of blue collar workers. Of course, there's some fields, but they're even within the farming industry. They have now machines that will go out there and plow and pick, fruit and that sort of thing. Let's talk about your program, the program STEM Coders, and what it offers, some of the aspects of the program that children experience and how long is the program?
Well, the goal is to provide the students with exposure to fields and organizations and opportunities that they can't get. So as I mentioned before, the overwhelming majority of our students come out of households where most of the people are blue collar workers. They're not in technology. They're not into the arts, the sciences, and they're making a living for their families. And the kids don't get the exposure that some of the wealthier students who were in their household, they may have doctors and lawyers and
Right.
and coders and programmers, etc. So they talk about the subjects, talk about the opportunities, talk about why their kids should be there. And then it's compounded by the fact that school has removed a lot of opportunities. There's limited to no music in schools. There's limited to no art in schools. Many of the schools that we support, nobody on campus knows anything about computer science. These are fundamental things that need to happen for all the students to have an opportunity to compete. And so we go into schools, we go into nonprofit organizations. During the week, we have classes on the weekend, and we have summer camps, we have workshops, and we have field trips. And so we give the kids as much exposure to the STEAM fields as we can. We even do free math tutoring in some Title I schools because kids are falling off the wagon in math. And that's unacceptable.
Right.
And so we try to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to learn, and we make it extremely affordable, even free often, that they can get and do these classes. So during the week, we might be 2 to 3 days a week, either embedded during the school day or after school. And we do Saturday classes and sometimes Sunday classes. And then in the summer, we'll have Monday through Friday camps, half-day camps. Now, one of the best things I like is that during the summer when we have camps, we partner with colleges and universities. So we take kids to Pasadena City College, Caltech, Harvey Mudd, University of Laverne, USC, campuses all over. And what the goal is—
Warner Brothers too, right?
Yes, we take field trips, Warner Brothers, Nickelodeon. So one of the key camp opportunities is we take that kid to Caltech. Let's say we do a robotics camp. The robotics class is done in one of the labs on the campus. But the most important thing is we're typically dealing with kids who will be first-generation college students because the parents did not attend college. So for that kid to step foot on the grounds of a college might be the first time they've ever done that.
Right.
Just as importantly, when the parent drops the kid off, that's the first time they've ever been on a college campus. So having that kid walk around, soak up the ambiance of college and what it's like, and the size of the buildings, how everything is different than high school, having lunch in the college cafeteria, all of those things plants a seed to that fourth grader that this is not that bad. I can kind of envision myself here.
Right.
And that's the goal of those summer camps, is to get them out of their local neighborhood, out of their environment they're used to, and put them in a place that they had no idea even existed, even in their own community. They've never had that chance. And then we try to supplement that by taking them on field trips to different places. We've taken kids to Google. We've taken them to Nickelodeon, where they could see how the animators make cartoons. And these are things they can relate to, but they don't know what's going on behind the scenes, how many people it takes to put together a Rugrats TV show. They don't understand it. So they need to see it and realize that maybe they just have a skill that can fit into that they don't have to be a master designer or drawer. That there are other roles that go involved in that. But since no one ever told them and no one ever showed them, they need to see it firsthand. And now that might plant a seed for career opportunity or maybe more learning. So we try to expose them to so many different things that they just never knew existed. And we're hoping that we could ignite that dream somehow, some way, not even knowing if we can or not, but as they walk across the campus or walk across the studio lot, they start to think about things, start to dream about things, hear different people talking about things, and then realize it's within reach. That's where they have to start, that this is within reach.
Right.
I would like to do it, and I think I can do it. So it's keeping that dream alive is what I like to say. The more we could do that for these kids, the better off we're going to be as a society. Because when kids give up and they haven't even reached high school, society is going to pay a price for that.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I don't think the community at large, especially within the political arena, although I don't think they understand that or they get that. When we talk about STEM coders, we're dealing with coding. We're dealing with software development, right?
Right.
Creating of software. You talked about the robotics. You talked about cartoons. Just to paint a further or give further clarity to what coders learning how to code covers. What are some of the other things aside from robotics and cartoons? Doesn't that cover like new apps and things like that as well?
Yeah, so we do a lot of classes teaching kids how to build their own app, whether it's a video game app, a regular gaming app.
Awesome.
We collaborate with the Art Center College of Design, and we take them up there and we teach kids. We have a master designer who used to work for, I think, Reebok and Nike, teaches kids how to design sneakers.
Oh,
and
come on.
use technology to do that. And the thing
did you all hear that? Hold on. Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that? I want you guys to soak this in. I want the young people, you need to grab your children, you need to grab a niece, nephew, the neighbor's kids, and they need to hear this.
And designing the sneakers, all the technology that comes involved with that, all the skill sets that you need, and
which Jay-Z knows a whole lot about, right?
Right. And the beautiful thing is that everybody loves sneakers. So it's an easy sale. You know, they say, yeah, I want to design my own. We teach them how to design their own pair. But the other part of it is we teach them the fundamentals of design, the concepts, and how to do it. Yeah. And then we had a young brother who has worked for the sneaker industry for, a decade plus. And he did a virtual tour because he goes back and forth to China where they actually do the manufacturing. Right. And he walks them through the different processes as they go from station to station to station, and until that Air Jordan, just a piece of scrap leather, and then how it becomes a sneaker. But the beautiful part about it is for the kids to understand the business side of everything. Like after you design and come up with all the materials and the look and the feel and the colors and all of that. And he said, this finished product here cost about $15, right? He said the leather, this, it's machined, so nobody does anything by hand. He said, so it's about $15. He said, when it shows up at Foot Locker, you stand in line to pay $215 for
Come on.
it. You can see the look on their kids like,
Yes.
Jordans? He said, yes, $15. He said, and then as you go down the line, the less popular sneakers, maybe not even $10. He said, but that, so you'll pay $215, and then of course on the aftermarket you might pay triple that. And you could tell the look on their faces was that, so I'm paying $200+ for $15 value item. He said, yeah, for the most part.
Right.
So that plants another seed that they're understanding how
their thought process, right?
Yeah, things get marked up. Where is the value in that? The design, the other parts. So learn how to be in the game, not by wearing sneakers.
Come on.
But you want to be the guy that's designing it.
Creator, the designer.
Right.
Yes.
That's where you want to be,
Yes.
So it's trying to get them to understand the behind the scenes piece is as valuable or more valuable than being in front, because these people have that skill and that talent, because the sneaker can go out of style, but your skills as a creative person don't go out of style.
Yes.
So you could work for Nike, you could work for Reebok, you could work for Adidas, you could work for a lot of people designing and doing that whole process. The machine part is standard. So how do you distinguish yourself? Your creative skills.
Right.
And they got to understand.
So you guys understand what Mr. Raymond Ealy is saying. There are content creators, which a lot of individuals on social media on this platform are familiar with, and then there are product creators,
right?
Individuals who create products, design products to sell in the marketplace, and that can be you. I want someone to understand. I want a parent to understand. That could be your child. Your child could be the next creator of the next form of a Yeezy, again, that is a message that we need to make sure we keep before young people, because they're entangled and they're excited from a consumer standpoint when it comes to tennis shoes and music and all these things. I mean, music is even digital now. Everything
digital.
Yeah. And so
you don't even need to know how to play an instrument.
You sure don't. You sure don't. You sure. I had a guy, we produce some of our podcasts on GarageBand on Mac. And he said, Dr. McFarland, you could actually, because I was asking him about music and licensing and do I really need to purchase this, this licensing from this company for music tracks? And he said, well, in GarageBand, you can actually produce your own music tracks. So you don't have to pay nobody anything. And he says, there's a little tutorial and you can just hit a key here, hit a key there, get the right pitches, and then it will create what you need. And you can utilize that and you don't have to pay anybody licensing.
And that's why I noticed the trend over the last, decade or so. If you'll notice, bands that you grew up with, and these guys are 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, they're still touring.
That's right.
Their music, and they've been, garage bands when they were younger, house bands, high school bands, and Earth, Wind, and Fire still tours, and all of these kind of groups. And there are no young bands, because they all do electronic music or they sample the old guys. But you could name 2 or 3 young bands, a band where everybody plays an instrument and
a real band,
they don't exist under 50.
Yeah, that's right.
Because technology has replaced them. They've embraced it. So they do what you just explained on how they get sounds, and and it's totally transformed itself to the point where seeing a young musician is unusual.
Yes.
And a young group is unusual. And then when they, just in case you didn't think it was real or fair or genuine or long lasting, they said, we can create the sound, but we can't create the voice. And then auto-tune came up, and
That's
now
right.
you get the voice and the sound
That's right.
electronically. So
That's
all of a
right.
sudden we're looking at this, and I was telling someone, I said, I used to like the you know, to hear the song, but they all had a deep guy, they all had a falsetto guy,
Right.
mid-range. I said, that's what made the song.
Bass, tenor, baritone.
Yeah, I said,
Yeah,
now
that's right.
it's the same with the auto-tune and all that. I said, no, that's not what we grew up
Verses
on.
over and over again.
Right.
No,
We grew
no,
up
no
no
serious lyrics, no
improvisation,
meaningful, yeah,
nothing. So,
storyline. Yes,
you know, if you had any kind of singing group, you had to have the bass and you had to have the falsetto guy.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
So,
Delphonics, we won't even go there. That's right.
we
So,
won't go there.
Philip
But
Bailey,
things
right.
change. This is all about technology,
Yeah,
making these changes, making it easy to make these changes, but also eliminating a lot of things that the skill set is no longer needed. However, it's still needed on the technology side.
yeah. And for that reason, share with parents. Parents, listen to what Mr. Raymond Ealy is about to share with. Share with parents why they need to be advocates, influencers in their children's lives to take interest in learning coding.
So to get your kids prepared for their future, not your future. There are times where parents will we do free tutoring, and we said, okay, we got to get this kid's grades up in math, at least to grade level. They can't struggle like that. And every now and then, more often than I would like to admit, a parent will say, well, I kind of understand. I wasn't in math. I wasn't good in math either. I said, with all due respect, that has nothing to do with anything. I said, because you had opportunities for factory jobs and
Right.
other opportunities. Those don't exist anymore.
Those
There are
don't
no
exist
more
anymore.
factories.
Right.
So if you don't have the skill set to do certain things, there's just no work for you. And in order for those kids to be prepared to compete, you got to get them online early. What is early? Well, how early do they play video games? That's how early, you know.
Exactly.
5, 6, 7. You know, how early do you prepare them to play sports? When do you send them out to
Right.
T-ball? When do you send them out to flag football? That's how early you need to get in the game. You prepare for football as soon as he can run.
Right.
And then even if he makes it, it's about an average 3-year career. So he's still in his 20s, his career is over. It doesn't matter how much money he made, it's over.
Right.
Now,
Right.
what else can he do? What other skill does he do?
And
And it's
unfortunately, our kids have not been taught to
no,
think,
there's no
let
balance.
alone critical thinking.
Right.
Exactly. To use this mind,
Right.
which
There's
is
no
the
balance in
greatest
their lives.
treasure that any man has.
I talked to parents about, I said, well, he looks like he's going to need a tutor. He's really struggling. And, you know, us being with him 2 times a week for 90 minutes is not enough. He's really struggling. And they said, well, I can't afford that. Meanwhile, they'll say he has a strength and conditioning coach. He's got,
Yep.
you know,
Right.
a shooting coach, a ball handling coach. And
Right.
I said, one of them
Lineman coach.
probably can be put on hold and get a math tutor. I said, because if you let him go too long and he gets into high school and he can't do algebra and he can't do calculus, he may never get into a school to play the sport. And you've
Right.
wasted all your time and money. But if you get him those STEAM skills, if you teach him how to code, program, or let us do it for you, he'll be working into his 60s and 70s.
Because
at his leisure.
you're giving them tools that will last them a
Forever.
lifetime and not a lunchtime.
Right. And
Yeah.
you gotta think that way, because that's where the work is going to be. I don't know how many CEOs and people in the industry, and they all have the same explanation about what's the hardest thing in their job. And they say recruiting, we don't have enough people. They said these industries probably short over 1 million people. These are $100,000 jobs.
That's right.
They're short 1 million people, and it's growing every day
It's
because
growing.
they don't have enough people who know how to do it.
Right.
And so the jobs are there, the opportunity is there, but people aren't prepared, and they're not preparing their kids to take full advantage of these jobs. I had a gentleman in a local company in Pasadena. He said they have training opportunities, training for cybersecurity that start at $75,000. He said these are entry level jobs.
Right.
These are not even people who, are fully ready yet. They're entry level, and $75,000. He said we can't even find enough people.
Yeah.
People are looking. We want to stand in the longest line. So if I told you that those jobs, cybersecurity, 75,000, entry level, no prior experience, ready to go. But then, nobody's showing up, nobody's applying. If I
Yeah.
told you there was a special teams position available for the Rams, there'd be a line wrapped around the
Wrapped
Rose
around
Bowl
the corner.
about 5 times for
That's
one
right.
job. This is
That's
for the
right.
one job. There's
It's
one
for the
position
one
open.
job.
I tell the
Hey,
parents all the
hey,
time,
the one
go
job
to
that's not paying
no,
$75,000
no,
a year.
and you can get hurt.
Right.
And I tell parents, I said, you got to figure this out and see where's the shortest line, and don't worry
Yeah.
about
That's good.
anything else. Where's the shortest line?
Yeah.
And if I could use my brain to get that done, then it's worth it. There are more computer programmers, more coders, more designers in one building at Google than they are NFL players in the whole league. And it's
Yeah.
trying to get parents to understand what opportunity is. There are 30 NBA teams, 15 players to a team. That's 450 positions
Right.
worldwide. That's why we have people from Europe, Africa,
India.
Asia, South America, and the US. That's 450 jobs, 15 people per team. Now, unfortunately, every year, all 15 spots are not open. They may bring on 2 or 3 rookies,
Right.
maybe. So you go for the same 30 teams, that's 60 people. 60 new jobs in a league where I don't know how many thousands of people trying to knock on the door to get in. And the
Right.
odds is you have better chance hitting lotto.
That's right.
But you could just walk into that $75,000 job and be in it a long time. And there's no 350-pound angry guys trying to knock your head off. You don't get a ruptured Achilles or
Right.
torn.
Right. Right. Hey, you
and
learn coding, I promise you, your brain won't erupt. I promise
right.
you.
And it's just trying to get parents to
right.
see that if you're going to invest your time in that child being the best they can be, don't limit it to sports. You can do sports, but don't put all your time and energy
Right.
into that. That's not a
Right.
not a good payoff at the end of the rainbow. And your kid may not even enjoy it. It could be your dream.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of that happens.
Right.
Okay, so let me ask you this. When is your next class starting? When is the next enrollment starting?
We're wrapping up the school year this month, and in mid-June to the end of July, we're going to have camps throughout the Pasadena area, some in LA. We're going to be at, again, those college campuses that we like to frequent. And we're bringing kids in. We have some sponsors who are underwriting the cost of some of the camps. So we have a 3-week camp going on at Caltech, no expense. And we have—
You said a 3-week program.
3-week, half day.
Going on at Cal State.
Caltech.
Caltech.
Yeah.
Paid for.
Zero expense to the parents.
Is register.
Yes, zero. And we have some field trips scheduled with SoCal Gas. And we have several other camps in and around town. And our website, www.steamcoders.org, will have a list of all the opportunities and how to register. And so we want as many kids as we can. We know they have a lot of things scheduled during the summer, but they usually can carve out a week or two to get some education. I think one of the challenges too parents have to accept is that in the old days, the summer vacation was the summer vacation. And the learning kind of came to a halt until it started up again, maybe after Labor Day.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, the competition goes to school year round.
Come on,
They
come on,
don't stop.
come on. They
So
don't stop.
these
They
kids,
don't stop.
parents have to understand when you're trying to end game, hopefully, is to go further that educational opportunity.
Yes,
And if you're competing with kids who go to school year round and you only put in 9 months,
right.
then in high school, 4 years, that's 3 months, that's 12. You
You're
lost out
behind.
on a year.
Yeah, you're behind. Yeah,
So
yes,
you can't compete with that student.
right.
So you get what you get. So parents need to understand that I got just like in sports, you practicing and playing year round. You gotta study year round. You gotta keep sharp.
Yes, yes,
There's only a finite amount of positions going into these schools every year. And if you're competing against kids who for 4 years have been going to summer school, preparing for that moment, and your child isn't, then they're at a competitive disadvantage.
that's right.
And I always tell parents, and you don't get a break because you're poor. If that kid is more prepared than your kid, then you don't get the spot.
That's right. That's
You
right.
know?
And again, I just want to say thank you for what you do in the community, what you do in the lives of families, specifically with our children in our communities, to empower them with the knowledge and the skill set required for them to compete in the marketplace presently and in the future. We are supporters of, some of you may view the words STEAM as STEAM or STEM, but as STEM coders. We're in total support of you, and we are here to help sponsor any kids or families that need help. Of course, you have corporate sponsorship, and I think it's also important that every leader, every community leader, whether that be civil or spiritual, get behind this programs like this, to really prepare our children for tomorrow. And I'm a believer that what you don't do today will cause you to fail in your tomorrow, and what you do today will make the difference in your tomorrow. And so with that, share with us before we close out again, why parents need to get their kids involved in this program.
Well, I'm going to add one thing to what you just said, which is affordability. For us, we've never turned a kid away when the family said they can't afford it. So some classes, there is a fee for the materials like the robots and things like that. But when we find a sponsor, that's not a problem. But if we ever have to charge, we've never turned a kid away, ever, because of affordability. That's
that wipes out any excuse,
right,
for the parent that says, I cannot afford to send you there.
exactly. And that's the plan. And then
Yeah.
last
And
thing I'll
anybody
say-
watching this,
yes,
anybody watching this video, listen to me. This studio interview, you have no reason not to get your children involved.
none. And the last thing I'll say, and this is for the parents, and many times we'll have parents hesitant or reluctant to enroll their kids, let's say, in a coding class, because they don't know anything about coding. They don't understand it. And they will say, I don't have a feel for that. I don't know what it involves. So, I'll pass. And I'll just share this quickly. My mother and father came from Georgia, the red clay in Georgia, rural Georgia, rural, even the people in country Georgia thought it was rural. They picked cotton and tobacco. They moved from Georgia to New York, where I was born. My father was a cab driver. You guys today would call it an Uber driver, but it was a cab. My mother was a housekeeper my whole life. She grew up picking cotton and tobacco. But the one thing she would always tell me, always, she said, you got a pretty good head on your shoulders. You need to go to college. She knew nothing about college, never went to college, never visited college, never stepped foot on a college ground. But she would constantly tell me, you got a good head on your shoulders. You should go to college. And every now and then I go, why? She said, because you can't do what I do. I picked cotton and tobacco for years. Now I'm a housekeeper. You ain't built this way, but you can do better. So understanding that you want better for your child than what you do for yourself. And there may be times where you don't understand it, but that doesn't mean the child doesn't get an opportunity. You have to push that child forward, and maybe they have to explain it to you down the road. But you got to be the parent and got to make sure they understand that 10 years from now, this world is going to be a lot different. And I'm going to give you every opportunity to succeed.
Yes.
That's how I grew up. My mother knew nothing at all about the whole process of applying to college and getting financial aid and she just kept imploring me, that's what you need to do to be successful, to take care of yourself. That's what you need to do. And as parents, that's what our responsibility is, to set that kid up for success.
Yes. Yes. That's our responsibility as a community as well.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Raymond Ealy, it has been a pleasure having you on with me this week. And we're going to pop your information in the bottom, so those parents, individuals that would like to get their kids, or maybe you're a young adult, a high school student that would like to get into the program, you'll be able to register for this program. And you already heard Mr. Ealy say that they already have sponsorships for a lot of programs that are already covered, as well as we are willing to sponsor any children or materials that's needed for some of the programs. So with that, you have no excuse not to get your children involved this summer, as well as throughout the year, because it's not just a summer program that STEAM Coders provides, it's year round. And so with that being said, thank you so much. Appreciate you and all that you do for the community and the families at large.
Thank you for the opportunity. And I look forward to having more families who listen to this podcast come out and bring their kids for the opportunity. I think they'll be pleasantly surprised.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and have a phenomenal week. And I'll be following up with you in the weeks and month to come as to helping get kids enrolled into the program.
Thank you,
sir. Until next time.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning into A Better You program with Anthony McFarland.